Okay, let's talk about life estates. Life estates are probably something that you're going to work out with your attorney and your accountant, especially as you probably get older in life. And I got to tell you, this is one of these things which you'd need to know for the exam. You're probably not going to be involved in these types of things as a real estate professional. You should know if your client says, I have a life estate, that should definitely trigger some certain questions. But you're not going to be setting these up as a real estate agent or broker. But you definitely need to know what they are for the exam. And once again, probably they're set up with an attorney and an accountant. There are 3 basic types of life estates that you need to know for the exam. And you most definitely want to be able to recognize the pattern. Pattern recognition, very, very, very important here. So I'm going to try to fit all 3 of these life estates here on the chalkboard. And the first one is life estate in reversion. This is, once again, set up with somebody's attorney and accountant, probably as they're getting older, although not exclusively. So, life estate in reversion, you start with person A, and they're going to grant to person B a life tenancy. So, person B is going to be known as the life tenant. You might want to write that down. That sounds like a test question. They're going to be required to pay the taxes, and also they cannot commit waste. Waste is destruction of the property. So, normal wear and tear, that's fine, but no waste. Ooh, that's a good vocabulary word to know. Person B will basically have possession of the property for the rest of their life. When they pass away, then it will revert back to person A. Life estate in reversion. Highly likely, both of those people are relatives. Extremely likely they're relatives. Extremely likely. In fact, all of these are almost always set up with relatives. So, life estate in remainder. Person A grants a life estate to person B, who's the life tenant. Highly likely you've got to have some type of scenario where you're going to have to identify the life tenant. And once again, they have to pay the taxes and they cannot commit waste. When person B passes along, the estate automatically then moves over to another person. Let's just call them R. Person R, also probably a relative. And they're going to be known as the remainder man. They would have been named by person A in the beginning. So this person doesn't come along, out of the blue. They're set up by person A in the beginning. So that brings us to the third life estate. Let's make sure I can spell this right here for you. And I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce it because it's French. Purautre. There we go. And I'll spell that a little bit tighter. Spell it in my penmanship, not the best. Aurte. There we go. That's better. Purautre. I'm sure my French pronunciation is horrific, but Purautre, which means for another's life. And you should know those in English or in French for the exam. These are the same thing. One's in English and one's in French. Now let's take a look at the pattern. A grants a life estate to person B, who's once again the life tenant. And person B gets the life estate for as long as another's life. Oh, so let's call that other person M. Also, again, highly likely a relative. When M dies, the life estate will then go to another party. Let's call them Q. Again, probably a relative. and they become, you guessed it, the remainder man. There is no remainder person in the terminology. The term of art is remainder man. So there's all sorts of ways, families are set up in different scenarios. Don't get hung up on that. Just be able to recognize the pattern for the exam and you'll be fine. Plus, remember who's the life tenant. In each one of these examples here, the life tenant was person B. And also remember that the life tenant must pay the taxes and they cannot commit waste. And of course, this is all set up by A in the beginning to manage their property. There could be some significant tax considerations, and that's why you set it up with your attorney and your accountant.